Good evening. This is chapter two of Daylight Chronicles, and the response to chapter one was overwhelming for me. Honestly, when I decided to create this channel, I really did not know what I was going to get. I didn't know if people wanted more conversation than the conversations we were having on Facebook Live. I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't know how it would be received. So, thank you. And just like that, I recognized I forgot the music to start our time together. This week, we start with a little of one of my favorite artists of all time, Anita Baker. She's singing a song called Only for a While. It's an amazing song. It talks about the fact that whatever we're going through, but especially the heartache parts, they only last for a little while, right? And if you can make it through that little while, everything else will be all right. But you have to hold on to this belief, to this understanding, to this concept that whatever it is, it's only going to last for a while. I added the word little. It's only going to last for a while. Sometimes it's a little while, sometimes it's a long while. In my instance, it's been the last 2 years, 2 years of living with and learning how to manage a diagnosis of bipolar 1 disorder. Hi, I'm Dave McAllister, and welcome to chapter 2 of Daylight Chronicles. Who needs a care team? That's an easy question for me to answer. Everybody. I don't mean everybody. I don't mean everyone. I mean everybody. Everybody needs a care team. What is a care team, you ask? When you have a mental illness, you often need to export parts of your brain to the outside world because they can't be trusted inside you in your mind context. What does that mean? It means when you're depressed, you lose the ability to execute your executive function. And so sometimes you have to have people outside of you who are performing the role of your executive function. These are people that you trust. These are people that you love. These are people that you absolutely positively know love you. These are people who, when they speak to you, when you are in the midst of crisis, you stop what you're doing. You listen to what they say. You follow the very clear and specific instructions that you give you. Those are the people who make up your care team. And baby, I have an amazing top tier care team. Okay? Top tier. Why did I have to enact this care team? I'm glad you asked. Because in February of this year, 2000, and the year of our Lord and Beyonce's internet, 23, I slipped into a hypomanic state. Now, for those of you that don't know a lot about bipolar 1 disorder, let me tell you, there are 7 different mood states. Most people only know about the 2 extremes. They know about mania and they know about major depression. But all the stuff that happens in the middle, so basically, you have your baseline, which is the middle point between the mania and the depression, okay, right in the middle. If you think of bipolar disorder as a volume button, right around 5 is your baseline. 10, 8, 9, 10 is your mania with psychotic features. And 0, 1, 2 is depression with psychotic features. But you got to get all those other numbers in between. So hypomania comes right before mania. If you think about mania as a time in your life where you will do things that essentially make the rest of your life incredibly difficult, hypomania is the phase that comes right before that, and it feels amazing. You have more clarity, you have more energy, you have more focus, you require less sleep. And if you are an artist, this is when you create some of your most profound work. If you are a minister, this is when you preach some of your best sermons. This hypomanic state makes you a superstar, okay? And people like to stay there. The problem is hypomania is right beside mania, and mania is a little too much focus, a little, not a little, a lot too much focus, a lot too much energy, and a lot of too much of clarity. I know that's not grammatically correct, but you understand what I'm saying when I said it. And so When you get to mania, you make decisions that make the rest of your life really hard. So when you're in hypomania, you're having this amazing feeling. People love you when you're in hypomania. But then you start tipping into mania. And when you tip into mania, you are not in charge of your rational mind and your executive function is not serving you. In those moments, you need people around you that you trust. You need people around you that you love. You need people around you who love you and that you know love you. Those people can speak into your life and tell you a thing when your brain is telling you, this makes absolute sense, but it doesn't. You need those people who are able to say, baby, this don't make sense. I'm going to need you to sit down. That's how the old people used to say it. Not sit down, sat down. I'm going to need you to sit down. You need that. That's what a care team is for. And I have an amazing care team. So when I learned from my therapist in February that I had become hypomanic, which meant my body was ramping its way up to mania, which means I was getting closer and closer to being in danger, I reached out to a group of individuals who had been functioning with me individually. Nobody starts off with a care team. What you have are good friends and family members who you love, who you check in with, who serve as the kind of scaffolding for your life. Scaffolding are the supports that allow you to function as an adult. And here's the thing about scaffolding: everybody, and I mean everybody, has it, but there are only certain people who are praised for having scaffolding. And they're praised because we presume, we assume, we believe that they are entitled to it. And there are other people that we don't think deserve scaffolding. And that's a problem. What do I mean by that? I am so glad you asked. Your questions are top tier tonight. If you are straight, and if you are masculine presenting, and if you are white, and if you are upper middle class, if you make six figures or above, there is a presumption that if there are children in your home, someone else is the primary caregiver. That's scaffolding. It is presumed that the food that is prepared in your home is prepared by somebody else. That's scaffolding. It is assumed that if there is major cleaning to be done in your home, somebody else is the primary person who does it. That's scaffolding. Those three things: taking care of children, providing food, making sure that the place that you stay in is organized and clean, those things are being done so that you can take the rest of your brain and use it, what's mostly presumed for, work, right? So you can focus on your job, so you can earn that six figures. We're going to take these other things offline because the brain has a certain amount of capacity, and beyond that, we don't function very well. So, if we can offload a few tasks that come with adulthood, then people can focus on the important stuff. So, straight wealthy men, are given scaffolding and a presumption that they're going to have scaffolding. But when poor people in our country, when women in our country, by our country, I mean the United States of America, I apologize. When women in the United States of America, when poor people in the United States of America, when people of color in the United States of America, when those individuals, when people who are differently able bodied people, when those folks, people who are neurodivergent, when those individuals want scaffolding so that they can focus on the task in their life, then we got a problem. When poor people say they want scaffolding, we got a problem. Why do you need this support? Why do you need this assistance? Why do you need this help? You're taking it from us. It's not true. All of us need scaffolding because adulting is hard. It's hard out here in these streets trying to be an adult. So all of us have people in our lives who take on some of the task of adulting so that we can focus. If we don't have people who do that all the time, we have people who do it at particular times. When we get sick, these are the people who bring us food, right? When we're in the midst of a project, these are the people who pick up the kids for us or take on a couple of other things so that we're able to finish that project and finish it really well. So, you have this scaffolding, which everybody has. So people with mental health challenges have scaffolding. We just have to be a little more intentional about who those people are. So the folks who are functioning in that way often function individually. They don't function as a team. But when I became hypomanic, I needed all of these people in my life who had been supporting me by helping me talk through decisions or helping me in other ways. I needed all of them to come together, or at least large numbers of them to come together to function as a team. I had never been aware of my hypomania before. So this was a really important time, said my therapist, for me to learn what it looks like when I was hypomanic and to learn what it looked like to be on the cusp of mania and to figure out how to pull myself back. Now, let me just name medication is a really important part of this, but medication alone is not what keeps someone who has my disorder at an even keel or at a reasonable amount of fluctuation between dystopia, which is the step right before depression, baseline, and hypomania. It takes gathering a lot of information and figuring out signals that your body is sending you in order to be able to manage this illness well. And that meant collecting data. Well, here's the thing. All of us have a set of eyes, and those eyes look forward, which means we only have a 180 degree view of ourselves. And really, it's not even a whole 180 because I'm looking forward, but I can't see my chin unless I have something to help me, like a tool, like a mirror or somebody else. And I can't see my chin for the self same reason, but I can see this part of my body. The things that are behind me, I can't see. Why do I mention that? Because all of us need people around us in order to get a 360 view of ourselves. So while I was hypomanic, I needed a 360 degree view of myself. So I needed people that I trusted who could be around to tell me what they were seeing, what they were witnessing, how I sounded, the way I was speaking. We needed to be keeping an eye on my temperament. We needed to be keeping an eye on the pace of my speech. There were a lot of things that we needed to look out for to tell us if I was continuing to ramp up towards mania while the medication was running its particular course. Those people who did that work, who used to function individually, I was now asking them to function as a team, a care team. Now, because I'm a Virgo and because of my organizational sensibilities, it wasn't enough for me to simply make a care team. I needed to organize the care team in a particular way. So, as we are currently in the NBA finals, we were not at the time, but this is helpful now. We're not in the NBA finals, we're in the NBA playoffs. And I am a basketball fan. I organized my care team like they were a basketball team. So we had a front office with a general manager. We had a head coach who was my therapist. We had a starting five. These were people that I talked to almost every day or multiple days a week. We had people who were on the bench. These are people that at different times in my life, they may have moved up to us speaking every day or a few days a week, and then they may, for different moments, slide back down to maybe only speaking to each other occasionally. We had trainers. These were people in my life who provide very specific information and have expertise in things. We had the OGs, the people like Udonis Haslam from the Miami Heat, who used to be on the team, who used to play as a starting role, but now are really there just to encourage other people and help them to figure out what it is to have a championship mentality. I wrote all of this out. I called all these people together, about 20 of them, and we had a wonderful Zoom meeting, and I introduced them to our team, our care team. This is the starting five. And I set it up just like you would a basketball player. So I had the name, I had their jersey numbers, I had how I met them, which was functioning as like their high school or college, basketball team. I had all the information, and I am the owner of this team because the care team is set up for me, to help to keep me safe. That's my care team. They're an amazing group of people. I wouldn't be able to do half of the things that I do as I'm learning to manage this illness if it weren't for this dedicated, loving, committed, amazing group of humans who have agreed to help me see myself 360 degrees. So, That's our time this week. I really am trying to be better about getting us in under 15 minutes, but your comments let me know if I am providing the kind of content that you are interested in doing. As always, I am extending this in love, hoping that it is received in love, that it flows from my heart in a place of love. I love you fiercely, and I am learning to make the world a safer place for people like myself. If you have a moment, please use it to subscribe to this channel. Find my GoFundMe page. You can go to fundme.com and look up Dave McAllister and contribute. Having a mental health crisis is unfortunately incredibly expensive in the United States of America and often causes people to move from one socioeconomic class down to another socioeconomic class. Do not allow appearance to fool you when I say that the need is great in the context of my life. I appreciate you. I love you fiercely, and I hope to see you next Wednesday in love. Pieces.